is nothing short than a miracle. And when you do it for the first time, trust me, you'll be addicted, because you're altering and changing and moving things the way that you want them to be moved, as is everybody. And when people limit themselves by believing that that's not possible, again, what psyop are you operating in? Because that's really what it comes down to. Your potential, your abilities are abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. There is no beginning or end to what you can do. You are all powerful. Remember that. Thank you, thank you. Just another ebb and flow. The greatest hits from the 80s. How potent is that wave? You'll all start to realize how powerful everything is. Individually, collectively, all is one, one is all. Welcome to the consciousness of the way. My delectable divine co-host, High Priestess Jade.
Howdy doody.
Howdy doody. How was the 60s?
What?
I'm just looking at how preciously beautiful you are. You look like an angel with your little flower halo and your olive jumpsuit.
Mm-hmm.
You look extremely
Retro.
divine. Very, very beautiful.
No, thank you.
And I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master Sun Queen. Another amazing day in paradise.
Another amazing day.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
How profound it is. How profound it is. And so, we went over a lot last podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And always a reminder, the incredible judgment, hubris that comes from the human being is always so delightfully entertaining, without question. A part of your own consciousness and awareness is to value, and this is my personal opinion, my experience, and leveling up my consciousness is being able to value everything equally. That's being at one with all, accepting and allowing. And, just recently I spoke with someone that it literally, the penny dropped. I've been sharing this with them for quite some time, and they were like, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Accepting and allowing, I get it. And, it is about realizing that. Now, you can go to the page of, I have an opinion, you have an opinion, which is always a great place to be. But in truth, because of the limited processing power of someone's personality, that would be a mistake in of itself. So understanding that, in the whole singular, whole being, one is all is one, that when you are able to look at something as a whole, There is nothing that is not valuable. There is nothing that is not seen. Once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Unfortunately, most people look at their reality like this, and their opportunity for consciousness is infinite, endless, abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, which we always remind people of. Yet, I would have to say some people are narrowing their options.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of reflectant on the experiment we call social media. But in any case, we speak about energy, frequency, vibration. We're always talking about how powerful that is, using the parallels of the deciphering through another language, a more recent language, something that is not as ancient as perhaps the Tao or Taoism or other ancient principles, ancient methods, ancient philosophies. You have to understand what it takes, what the human being gravitates to. Numbers, words, and symbols. And so what better way to get a greater understanding is to integrate another ritual of Taoism, which is the construction of talismans.
Mm.
And this is very interesting. Jade has a very interesting, I wouldn't even call it a theory. I would just validate it as a fact from her own decades of experience and understanding of this stuff, that when you take any type of image and you imprint it on anything, whether it's just with the energy, and everything is energy, but let's say, for example, you're drawing it with sword fingers and you're imprinting it, because wherever your eyes go, the energy flows. You're instantly altering matter to wave to particle. That's taking place immediately. But speaking more on Jade's fact, not theory, people tend to look for their answers externally, and that would also be representative of the types of things they gravitate to in relation to symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Please do share.
Yeah, well, I think the number one symbol when it comes to talking about that is tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Tattoos are such a impactful thing, whether it's getting it for a memory or getting it to create a memory. People don't realize the power that comes with tattoos and imprinting that particular message or picture, or whether it's words, whether it's a picture, whether it's a symbol, onto their skin, in their skin. I mean, I would say infinitely, even though you can have them removed. It's permanent, and that, just like we always talk about, everything comes with energy. That also comes with energy and the imprint of whatever you're getting tattooed on your body.
Mm-hmm. And these symbols are very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't dismiss anything that anyone creates as an expression of them
Mm-hmm.
on their physical body, because it all has meaning, it all has value, it all has purpose, much deeper than they may recognize at face value. The implications are pretty profound, understanding how symbols are integrated into their very DNA. Numbers are integrated into their very DNA. Words are integrated into their very DNA. Their neurology is dictated by this process. So, for a human being to gravitate to a symbol, it seems sort of elementary, evolutionary in of its nature. So, talismans are an expression of Taoist magic, and they have incredible deep roots in their ancient practices that are taken place for thousands of years within Taoism. We construct a lot of our talismans using specific fundamentals of Taoist magic, and there is an order and a process of things to generate the prescribed response from a talisman, which evokes an alteration within the space that you cast the magic to. So, fundamental basics within the Bagua, which is really got 9 sides, but the misdirection is that there's only 8. 8 is not the most powerful number, that it's very lucky for most people. Most people gravitate to it within Eastern practices because of the power of 8 in reflection to the Bagua. But in essence, the most powerful number for us is 9, not 8.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, if you look at 8 too, it's also a symbol of infinite or infinity.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so the misconception is the Bagua actually has 9 sides, not 8. And everyone goes, that's wrong. You could say there's only 8 sides. The 9th one is in the center. Well, that's not a side, Sifu. Oh, yes, it is. That's the black hole. Oh, yeah. Mic drop on that one. Work that one out, because that is on a whole nother level. We dispute the construct of, and I don't dispute anything, but my revelations for many people in relation to Taoism and the universe is perplexing at most, and on face value, some people can't handle. You can't handle the truth. And that is very reflectant on, you ever seen that movie, Few Good Men? Jack Nicholson, I think he hasn't been seen since. I don't know whether he's a recluse or he's just slowly dying on a slab somewhere. He must be like 105 years old. But in any case, that scene. Did you order the code red? Did you order the code red? You can't handle the truth. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. And, of course, Tom Cruise is like, did you order the code red? Damn straight I ordered that code red. Now, the truth is, this is perplexing for most because it's still hypotheses. It's still theory in of itself, the fundamentals of the quantum, the fundamentals of physics. And quite frankly, the more and more you deep dive into it right now, with the understanding that the Newtonian model is nothing more than obsolete and incorrect, which people don't want to actually confront or understand, that because that would then mean that everything that they've been speaking on for the last 100 years is moot in of itself. But look, physics in of itself has only been around 300 or 400 years since Newton. So look, it's a language. It ain't Taoism that's thousands of years old. It's been around as an angle to look at things. And, we can't even agree on something as simplistic as a gravity. So, and where that lies within the quantum model is speculative due to everyone just going back and forth hypothesizing over things that really, if you understand, When I speak on something, I know. I'm not really concerned by someone going, well, that's not the numbers, and the ones and the zeros don't add up to that. Listen, I use this stuff on a daily basis. I use ancient tools that have been handed down from generation to generation for thousands of years. They work. Your validation of it as a physicist is a incredibly refreshing viewpoint. Understanding I already know that. So, people always speak, but they do not know. That's okay. That's the whole point of accepting and allowing.
Mm-hmm.
But understand the architecture of a talisman. It's very, very powerful. Just like anything else, like an incantation, like a mudra, a mantra, a hand seal. Everything is powerful. Everything directs the energy in a certain way. Understanding the simplicity of the field. You are the field is you. Your consciousness, your attention, intention alters wave to matter instantaneously like that. That's all it takes, a thought, an emotion, and a feeling, and you create your reality. It's that simple. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think even like getting back to tattoos, a lot of like ancient cultures and stuff, some people would like write it on the walls or write it in a scripture or write it, on carve it into something. Whereas like, especially like Pacific Islander, that's their ritual. Or even like ancient Japanese or something is like tattooing from the earth or from some type of element and tattooing on the skin, whether it's just little tiny dots or whatever their symbols are for that kind of, you will be ingrained with this. Mm-hmm. And I think Western culture has kind of only viewed tattoos as a form of creativity and like art. And it's lost a little bit of the like spiritual kind of mysticism of the symbols that you really connect to. Even though unconsciously most people get a tattoo that they feel some type of connection to or not. I mean, some people just go, hey, I'll throw a dart, give me something off the wall. But
well,
I would say,
inspired
right.
They want to do something. They want to have something represent how they're feeling right now. So they go to a tattoo artist and go, I want something. I want to feel independent of everybody. Mm-hmm. And the misconception is you are individual and collective. You are singular, and that doesn't make you lesser or more for anything. But there's always a fundamental reason why you gravitate to anything and everything when it comes to numbers, words, and symbols. And so, Jade made a very good point with the tattoo, how powerful it is, what it does to you, and what it does to your physical body, because that's the vehicle that's holding the energy, the frequency, the vibration, and, of course, the housing that basically contains your spirit through this reincarnation. So we have this understanding of talismans and how powerful they are. Mm-hmm. Symbols, numbers, words, they're all integrated into your DNA, fundamental essence of the truth of who you are. And so this is why you innately, internally emote, or your intention, you'll gravitate to this feeling, I need a number, I need a word, I need a symbol. It's because it's in you. Always has been. And so talisman construction is a really incredibly powerful way to direct an energy, create an outcome. It's another form of manifestation, but it's a much deeper level of manifestation, right down to the last photon in how you're directing the light, the information, the energy, and what your outcome is. So that's why, Taoists have used magical rituals like star stepping for thousands and thousands of years. I even believe, having spoken to the Yellow Emperor, that he was gravitated to star stepping when he first engaged with this realization that he was able to transfer energy. That the Yellow Emperor's affinity for the universe was because the universe talked to him. That was how it first started. His channel was instantaneous. The Yellow Emperor was given this opportunity. Yes, ultimately, through his reign, there was levels of, immense mastery and powering of this energy, harnessing of this energy, and using it for many different reasons, maybe not of the highest cause, but in essence, it was the understanding of that. But that's how he stumbled across the universe. He didn't really stumble across it. It spoke to him directly, and what we now fundamentally understand as the Tao.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's the power of it. Just like symbols speak to you, just like words speak to you, numbers speak to you, places speak to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's all so powerful. You have people who go like, I could never move away from the ocean. I always have to hear it, or I have to be next to it, or I have to be, within driving distance of it. And it's like, that's all powerful things
Right.
speaking to you, your gravitational pull to things.
Right, right. And so this relationship that Taoists have had with the universe for thousands and thousands of years was representative in the relationship that the Yellow Emperor created over 10,000 years ago with the universe. And so we create it within a contemporary offering of an ancient practice, using these ancient Taoist tools to create a visual, audible experience affecting and evoking and supercharge that is the kinesthetic response that you get from this experience that we give you with the images, the sounds, the words, the numbers, the letters, all integrated into this experience that evokes what people have called life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just quoting, half a dozen people off the top of my head, what their experience is. I know it to be a fundamental shift. It's affecting your DNA instantaneously, but that's just part and parcel of your experience with this reality within this life experience as an eternal immortal being having a human being experience. You are altering everything with your attention, intention, instantly taking a wave, turning it into matter particle. That's your contribution. That's your experience. And then you need to learn how to ride that wave to create the manifestation, create the healing, create the magic. And so, getting back to the Yellow Emperor and understanding how that is relevant to our affinity as Taoists within the cosmos, and how that correlates with our energy centers, the upper dantian, middle dantian, lower dantian, and the construction of a talisman. What's the purpose of a talisman, Sifu? Well, let me tell you. So, we have thousands of rituals that we use to connect ourselves at such a deep level to whatever energy source, whatever spirit, whatever energy that we need to create whatever it is that we want to alter in this 3D reality. That's part and parcel. So talismans are symbolic in relation to specific configurations of stars within the universe. And you call on those, whether it's the stars, whether it's a planet, whatever it might be that is galaxy, it doesn't matter, universe, all in parts. So you can go from the largest to the smallest, just like we talk about from a cell all the way down to a particle, a photon, all the way up to mitochondria, flesh and blood, all the things that we relate to as our physical body. This is the universe that is inside you, is outside of you, vice versa. This is how you relate it. So the talisman's configuration, the most important thing is once you've designed it, it's kind of like sitting down with an interior designer. Mm-hmm. And you're, okay, so I want my walls this color, and I want, black tile in the bathroom, and I want the elaborate couch over here, and I want the certain type of roofing, and I want da-da-da-da-da. That's what a talisman is. That's what the magic is when it comes to Taoism, when it comes to constructing talismans, magic. And, most anyone within the Eastern
community,
lifestyle, culture, you're going to find that majority of them are superstitious to some degree. Now, we've talked about this in relation to your value add, and that Jade and I, we step beyond duality. That makes it possible for me to do what I do. If I was truly operating in a duality, I would not be able to serve people to the level of consciousness that is necessary to alter the 3D reality. You have to step beyond that. You have to be able to be one with everything. This level up that we're talking about in relation to consciousness, concept, consciousness, knowing, unconscious knowing, being, which is a 5 stages, and then you go even higher than that, and that's sort of integrated more in the secrecy that is the misdirection of Taoism. But let's just say this. You put together a list of what you want. In most cases, someone would come to us annually. We would go out to their house. We would configure it. We'd go through the house from front to back, take a look at where all the objects are, and basically have an interview with the individual and ask them, okay, so how was your year last year? What took place? What were the events that were what they've considered most positive? What were the events that were most negative? Then we would go through and unpack that and showing them where their action together individually and where they were placing the objects within their house was having a complete reflection on their reality. Because everything's energy, right? Mm-hmm. And so then we would then take a look at, all the things, the most fundamental things that are important for anyone that operates in this space in a duality, which is probably 99.99% of people. I mean, people are waking up these days, but it's a process. So you look at these value systems, you realize you're dealing in duality, and then the 3 fundamentals that are most important and most precious to any Eastern culture is fertility, longevity, and wealth. Mm-hmm. And so these are the 3 fundamental elements that we incorporate. What a real weird coincidence. What else is there? Thoughts, feelings, and emotions.
We love 3s.
Light, energy, frequency. Mm-hmm. Ooh, light, information, energy. I mean, we can go on, right?
Yeah, well, getting back, like those 3 fundamentals especially, I mean, think about back in the day, 10,000 years ago, even 5,000, even 500 years ago, it wasn't like there was hospitals. It wasn't like there was grocery stores. It wasn't like there was, banks. It was like, so for all of those things, if something went wrong, my husband fell and broke his leg, I would go to a Taoist priest for a healing, for a talisman. Oh, the rain didn't water our crops this year and we're not going to be able to feed our family, I can't, it's not like I can go to the bank and take a loan out. I go to a Taoist priest and I get, or a Taoist master, I get a
right.
talisman, I get the
Weather
magic.
magic.
Exactly. So all of these talismans fundamentally kind of came from this need of like, something's happened, you know, my donkey died and I can't plow my field, I can't go, you know, sell my crops, I can't do this, or I need a healing, I need, you know, or you know, I'm not having kids,
Right.
you know, I need to reproduce to
Right.
have kids work to help us sustain our living environment. And it's like, so that's what the Taoists were there for, to cast the magic, to write the talismans, to give it to, you know, their community, their town, their people, whoever they were serving, to help them with all of these, you know, issues that today technology we might not face, but you know, ancient years ago,
Right, right.
this is how you solve those types of problems.
Right, right. And, you know, just as Jade said, it's like these are how they were altered. Just as the Yellow Emperor was spoken to by the universe and worked directly with the universe to create the systems that are fundamentally still operating today in traditional Chinese medicine, herbs, massage, energy, and
Herbology.
and acupuncture.
Oh, acupuncture.
And so, you know, these come up, but I mean, the most powerful is, of course, energy. And, you know, it all starts with that construction. And just as Jade said, with the understanding of, you know, you didn't have, you know, progressive, you know, I got a problem, my house burnt down, I need progressive, I've got a problem, there's not enough rain, I need, you know, I mean, you're not going to go to your insurance company for that. And of course, there weren't traditional medical doctors or any of those things. I mean, Eastern practices are so ancient and they're so powerful, you're not relying on any other external force to create what's necessary for you. It's just getting the access. And so, you know, just as the Yellow Emperor was speaking to the universe, so was Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu, that generated the Tao Te Ching, he spoke directly to the universe. And then you reflect on other, you know, powerful masters like Zhang Daoling, who was a very powerful exorcist within Taoist lineage, which I'm a lineage holder of. And he was directly talking to Lao Tzu, of course, channeling him. And, you know, the principles and understanding of that integration of himself and, you know, basically mastering control over spirit entities that would control others, another thing altogether. So now let's get back to the construction of the talisman and what it takes to create the change. You have to start with where you're constructing this. So it starts with, now you can do what we call virtual, where you can construct it, because I mean, we are the field is you. You can draw it and it will just infuse and alter wave into matter. Most people will do a few other fundamental things that are far more steadfast than, say, perhaps this. Because most people, I mean, I'm at a level of evolution where I don't even, I'm not even moving my hands. Everything is this way. But I mean, they don't call me the Sifu, the master, for no reason. Let's just start at a fundamental level. You need a certain stock of paper, how it's made, what it's made from. And you're going to have an integration of many things, but let's just start with a basic sheet of paper. In those days, it came from several different types of trees that it was formed from. Now, I'm not going to release which ones they are, but they had their own magnetic pull that infused the energy even stronger into the paper when you are drawing it on the talisman onto the paper for a specific reason. It's like the glue that infuses it into the paper. So there was 3 different tree blends for that particular paper. Then we had the ink. The type of ink that you would use would be from several different stones, 3, I believe. And that was infused. What a coincidence. Everything's in freeze. Whoa, what are the chances? Then when you're constructing this and you get your brushes, again, specific types of brush compositions that were of 3 different types of what would you call that? It's just
like natural hair.
Yeah,
or
like
natural...
the hair. It came from 3 different animals.
Mm-hmm.
One was a horse, and one was a, I think it was a buffalo, or something of that nature. It might have been, it wouldn't have been a cow, because that's no. But it was a horse, a buffalo. I'm not even going to share with you the last one, but in essence, there was 3 different hairs for the actual brush. Now, when you're constructing it, you need to have a space. Yeah, powerful stuff. So your directions are critical at this point now. So you would construct it in a space where you're facing south, of course, drawing in all of the Tao's energy. And one of the biggest keys to constructing talismans is you have a specific incantation that is in here that you will speak inaudibly as you are constructing this talisman, and it will be on repeat. And the closest thing I can give you as an example would be, say, a mantra that you might have picked up from, say, a more commercially known sort of process, like some type of Buddhist monk from Tibet would use a mantra and repeat it over and over again. Well, you're doing that in here. It's an incantation that we use. And you're repeating that in your head, inaudibly, while you're constructing this talisman with the paper, with the brushes, with the ink. Again, everything is in 3s. What a coincidence. And so the biggest thing is the direction facing south. And then the most important element, once you have all this aligned, is you cannot take the brush off the paper. It's a no. It's really bad. Really bad. So you have to understand what direction you start in, and you must finish in the same direction. So if you do not, I promise you it would be good. So you're operating in this. Now, what takes place after that is normally we have a chop that we use that you would seal that with, depending upon what other energies you're drawing in. And that would basically infuse the spirit and energy into the talisman with the chop.
Just for everyone who doesn't know, what is a chop?
A chop is like a seal. So, you go to, I don't know, Barnes & Noble or something, and you get little stamps, little rubber stamps. So you can go to a publishing house or some sort of like printing place that there's a printing press, which seems to be obsolete right now, or FedEx, and they can make you a little rubber stamp with your business name on it, and then you use it. It has ink, and you can stamp things to like finish.
Or like a crest or something.
Yeah. So that's what a chop is. So there's a seal that we use. We have many different chops that we use, and that seals the final product, however that might be. So you have the mantra that you're repeating in your mind, and that's being fueled by the energy drawn down through your byway into your upper dantian. The upper dantian is the one time that it starts moving in the opposite direction. The dantians always move clockwise in the yang direction. When you are casting this type of magic, the dantians start moving in the counterclockwise direction, which innately ignites your connection with a yin, which is the gateway to the spirit world, which is the gateway to all realms, much even deeper if you want to base it basically understanding that your level of consciousness is going way up. And of course, putting you in a fifth dimensional reality, being able to shift and change things within this 3D.
So because we've done this a lot, if you are not, say, skilled to feel comfortable writing your own talisman, and you come to like us or, a Taoist priest, a Taoist master, and you have them write a talisman for you, once you finish going through all the steps you talked about, you hand it to that person. They say, hey, I broke my leg. Can you write me a talisman to speed up the healing? What do they, once they receive it, what do they do with it? Or like, what's their process once received?
That's a very good question, Jade. This is a living, like, the magic is alive. So treat it as if it's a baby. But the only difference is you're going to take this because it's now a part of your stratosphere. It's basically that magic is now infused into your very essence and what is operating within your reality. Now, you want to take very good care of it because all those energies, frequency, vibration, spirits, all that stuff is infused into this talisman. And the other point I will make is the one other element that takes place in construction is there's always 9 points to any talisman, 9 points to any magical ritual. And those will be left to your imagination. But let's just say there are 9 points that also have to be added. They're like 9 ingredients. And so when you get the talisman, treat it like a baby. If you've got a safe, you've got somewhere, you need to put it somewhere very safe because...
Does it have to be visual? Like do I have to put it where I can see it every day?
No. That magic now ripples out into your very reality.
Okay.
And as long as it's taken care of, it will continue to do the job that it has been designed for. If for any reason you lose it, you damage it, you destroy it, run. No, I'm just kidding. What you need to do is make it clear. You need to go back to the priest or the master that you got it from, and then they need to alter the direction of those energies due to the construct of it. Another preface that I need to remind people of, this is all in the understanding that you are operating in a duality. Do not forget that. Now, when you level up and you realize that it's way more than, 2, it's 1. And when you understand that it's 1 and you know that it's 1 and everything that you do is based on being one with everything and everything is one with you, all bets are off. And so when we get into that degree of manifestation, magic, healing, as the oneness, as the singular, that's leveling up again. But, I can't construct talismans in this 3D reality without operating that way. Does that make sense to everyone?
Now, would you, if you were constructing it for yourself, would there be a different process than constructing it for someone else?
Well, yeah, because just that realization, like we talked about in yesterday's podcast, is when you have a realization, you are the field. I'm not calling myself up going, hey, San Quinn. Yeah. So I was just wondering, do you think you could possibly cast that magic specifically for that, and that? Yeah, no problem. I can do that, bro. Anytime. Well, what are the stages that we need to go through to make that happen? Well, you got to do this, and this, and this, and this. Oh, well, aren't you the field? The field is you. So what are you talking to me for? Because it's already happened. This comes down to the same concept. I don't have to compartmentalize or title anything. It happens instantaneously. You, as an individual, are altering wave to matter regardless of your intention. Wherever your eyes go, the energy flows. Wherever the energy flows, it takes wave and turns it to matter. That's it. It's happening. Now, the more you become masterful at harnessing that energy, remember, we have over 50 trillion cells in our body which generate 0.07 millivolts of electricity. Collectively, we are a plutonium dump site of energy. When you're able to harness and in concert move that energy any which way you want, ooh, all bets are off.
Yeah, and I think what people might not realize, and we can make it a little more clear, is that we can do this for anyone. We've done it many, many, many times. But the reason we created our app and the 126 is to give you the ability to do it for yourself and to start elevating that level of knowing that you can do it for yourself. And so we've cast magic for, couples, for families, for businesses, for success, for so many different things where, yes, we're at that level and we've done it, but we want everyone to understand how powerful they are, that we're giving you the tools and the system so that you can do it. You don't have to come and go, hey, can you cast the magic for it? It's like, no, I can do this myself, and it's
Right.
like, I don't have to go to the chef to get the secret recipe. He's handing it to me and I can make it at home.
Right.
And
right.
it's like, that's the power of the Way 126, and sharing all of this with you and giving you all of this knowledge and understanding is passing this secret recipe so that you can make it yourself.
Yeah. And I mean, that's just the key, is that integration, that realization, and that's really the fundamental base of any sort of shift in the fourth, fifth dimensional reality, is that realization that you are the field. When you get that, when it is solidified, that palpable moment, that tangible moment where you shift wave to matter through your intention alone, is undeniable. It's the validator, the image, the sound, the feeling that is generated, the thought, the emotion, the feeling that is generated, the visual, audible, kinesthetic response that is the supercharge, that is your reality, is undeniable. That is the solidifier. And that's critical. Mm-hmm. It's critical to your realization. And as Jade said, the Way 126 does that for you. You are the field. Your ability to manifest, heal, magic, all takes place instantaneously. Now, on a much deeper level, you want to cultivate those 50 trillion cells to generate the energy any which way you want, however you want, not just in this physical body, but the field that is you, which then ultimately turns into a manifestation of healing magic through your attention, intention, altering wave to matter to particle. That is the mic drop.
Yeah, that's that supercharge.
And so crafting that energy, once you have that talisman, treat it like a baby. Mm-hmm. Be very clear. People are operating in this space of duality, so their mindset is very clear of the rights and wrongs, ups and downs. Karma in of itself is very clear. So you have this magical alteration that is in your hot little hands, that is being set into the very fabric of what you consider yourself, which is the field, making it, altering space-time, collapsing it, operating in a 5D reality, changing and manifesting in this 3D reality. And so take care of it, put it in a safe, tuck it away. You don't have to see it because it's already been constructed. It's doing its job. Imagine it like the Roomba. You just turn it on and let it go. That's exactly what that does. It does exactly that. And so, direction south, sitting in south, when you're constructing it, using a specific tool that is integrated 3 different hairs from 3 different animals, which is the brush that infuses the ink that are 3 different stones, that infuses the paper, the 3 different papers, 3 different trees that are infusing the outcome. And it's nothing short than a miracle. And when you do it for the first time, trust me, you'll be addicted, because you're altering and changing and moving things the way that you want them to be moved, as is everybody. And when people limit themselves by believing that that's not possible, again, what psyop are you operating in? Because that's really what it comes down to. Your potential, your abilities are abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. There is no beginning or end to what you can do. You are all powerful. Remember that. And so when people go, well, I believe in this, but that can't happen, and this and that, again, all you do is go, back off, brah. I'm a Ghostbuster. And you know what? That's your opinion, and I believe that, guess what? We're going to agree to disagree. And then you'll fundamentally understand the difference between their reality and your reality. And it will be extremely limited. It will be very, very limited in what's actually taken place in their reality, because that's how they foresee their reality. And we remind everyone the same thing. The truth is only what you believe. That's the only truth you need to be concerned with. The first and last, beginning and end of anything is what you believe, not anyone else.
I also like the one-liner that people's opinions of you are none of your business. You know, because really, it's your truth. So,
right.
What does it matter what anyone else thinks? What does it matter what anyone else says?
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So all the things that we're sharing with you are now integrated into your very DNA. And they're now possible for you. All you're doing is leveling up. All we're doing is dusting off what you've known your entire lifetime, and many lifetimes before this. You're at here at the right place at the right time to have the coincidence of your reality, because there are none, that you're here to absorb it, to open it up, to widen your consciousness that is abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. There is no end, no beginning. That's the truth. That's the reality. And so when you're operating that way, you're casting that magic. Oh boy, some crazy stuff starts happening, because if you were to look at the visual, I'll give you a visual of it, even though, depending upon your own development, whether your clear sense is activated or not, clear vision is activated or not. When you're constructing this stuff, there is a field that is generated around you that is, well, it's kind of like flower-like in its nature, because the center is you. You're the stillness within the hurricane. Okay? which is really the black hole. But anyway, we won't go there. That's just the beginning. And so this massive rippling effect of this electromagnetic field and frequency, and it's like bands of this energy that just keeps coming back out and around and in you. And when you're casting that magic, right, you're leveling up to a whole another idea of what consciousness is. And so the fundamental thing is you call in within the magic, and I'll just tell you this, what the hell. There's a few other things that have to take place, so it's not like you're going to run out and start doing stuff. Mm-hmm. You call in 81 colors, you call in 81 directions, you call in 81 frequencies. Again, in 3, what a coincidence. And this has a rippling effect on your aura and the field that is emanating from you, in you, around you, and oscillating at all times. Ooh. So talismans are fantastic for a whole heap of different things. But, the traditional Eastern culture, first you start off with the old bagua, with a mirror in the middle of the bagua that would be at the entrance to anyone's home, which is sort of basic magic 101, but fundamentally for someone who's extremely superstitious to start with this, you're using mirror magic to redirect any sort of spirit entity or energy that was coming in to your home that was not of its highest consciousness. It would be repelled from the space, unable to enter, right? So, the old, leave some garlic at the front door. If you don't invite the vampire in, he can't come in. Mm-hmm. Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the parallels are pretty close.
Yeah, that principle in concept is very similar to the one with the bagua and the mirror. Mm-hmm. And, there are different cultures, different types of things that take place. Some people are talking about evil eyes and whatever, and that's from a different culture. But fundamentally, that is the first basic line in the sand for someone who's just doing protection work for themselves, their family, their home, their business. And that would then stop or redirect the energy that would be related to who they are in the cycle of the animals. So, from an astronomer's view, you're looking at astrology and you're looking at other elements, but everyone has their own they have their own animal, mm-hmm. depending upon when they were born and what year and what month will determine their animal and how that interplays with the universe and what
again,
they align with.
Another symbol.
Yes, another symbol. Again, that's a little skewed, but we won't go there because people's brains are exploding as it is. But understand that that is also part of. And the most important thing to take away from this is the construct and what it does within your energy body, and of course everything around you, because everything is energy, is the most powerful thing. And you need to cherish this piece of magic. It's critical, because if you lose it or it gets damaged, it has a huge rippling effect on your reality, understanding that you are operating in that duality.
Right. And I think this is like anything, being such an ancient practice. I mean, this was how they shared their information and their, morals and their ethics and their culture was all built into these, magical tools, whether it was, candles or talismans or different directional things. this was how they didn't have the internet, so it's like, they couldn't research or, get a better understanding. It was like, this was all taught down stories, generations and generations of how to live, the best life, the most, incredible energy, how to transfer it and make it flow. And it was like passed down through all these different ancient tools to be able to do that and create that longevity.
Right, right. Which goes back to the cycles of the universe in relation to the moon cycles, from a full moon to a partial, and so on, etc. So realizing that that is also plays in an element, you know, fire is a huge component. So there are other parts where you're constructing that talisman, and then the final completion can also not just be with a finished form that you hand to someone and they use it for whatever the direction is. An even higher concentration of that is you've constructed it, and then once it's been infused, once it's been cast, you then put it to fire, you turn it to ash. That raises the frequency and the vibration of the phoenix within your middle dantian. And that has a huge rippling effect that is internalized. And you take that ash, and of course that would be for the individual. They would add it to their urn within their altar space in their space. Or moreover, they could take that ash and carry it with them for even higher levels of protection, or whatever the direction is for that particular magic. And so,
Now, for something like that, if that was the case, would you say that you, being the master casting the talisman, would burn it and give it to them? Or
Yes.
the particular...
No, yes, that I would burn it and give them to them, and then you would carry that. There's three different fundamental things you do with it. One, you could carry it on your physical body, but you're also implementing it to your physical body, and then of course you're implementing it to your altar within your urn. So when you're doing practice, when you're giving to your spirits flowers, food, incense, candles, that levels up the energy within that ash, which just keeps infusing and stacking upon itself. It becomes greater and greater and greater. The application of that ash on your physical body is also another big deal. I mean, people might be more commonly aware of, Ash Wednesday, which I have a fundamental understanding of within Catholicism, but, people will, all over the world, you walk around, you see Catholics with a dot smeared on their forehead, or, as you would say, references at the cross.
No, I think it's a cross.
Right.
They do the cross.
Okay. Now, that application is very applicable to using the ash of the talisman. So that would also activate the red phoenix every single time you used it. So for specific rituals, you take that magic that is infused for a specific directive. You now have it infused in the ash. You're putting it in your urn. You're carrying it with you, or what would be even relevant, depending upon the circumstance, that you're adding to the your own potency in relation to your own magic, and you would use the ash on your physical body, evoking the red phoenix for your own magical creation. And we're getting to a whole nother ball game.
Would you say that that has a similar kind of understanding when people are cremated and they they take someone's ash and then spread it as
Very interesting.
putting
Yeah.
putting their energy in, the ocean or in a river, or their favorite place, or, splitting it. And it's like, my brother has some and I have some, and I feel connected
Yes. Very good.
to that power or energy.
I mean, it's so absolutely mind-blowing when you hear that classic one-liner, ash to ash, dust to dust. So is the test of time, or something along those lines. I can't even remember what the expression was. In any case, ash is so powerful. And it just so happens, I mentioned a wedding at the end of the month. That's part of the ritual, and the infusing of these two individuals as a collective is, we take their very vows that they have to handwrite on a piece of paper, and then I put them together. I infuse it with a talisman specifically designed for them on their day, and then you burn that, and they should keep a partial amount of that because that's part of the unity, and they can use that at will. So using the ash on their physical body to evoke the red phoenix for other magical purposes, because that's a whole, when that phoenix rises from that ash, my goodness, you are on a whole nother level. You think this commander-in-chief, it does a lot. Wait till you knock on the door of the studio of the red phoenix and you go, can you come out to play? Yeah, you don't remember that movie from the 70s, Warriors? I kind of love that. Warriors, come out to play. Yeah, anyway, you know how I operate.
Wow.
Very, very interesting. Talismans are so powerful. In retrospect of this whole podcast, this is about how powerful symbols are, numbers, words. We go over it again because people can't get enough of an understanding of how you resonate with things. Intuitively, you gravitate to something that makes you feel good. Again, everything is a thought, feeling, and an emotion, which evokes this change from wave to matter, using your attention, intention to affect that within this reality, this 3D reality operating from a 5D reality, in altering and using the superglue that is gravity. And so when you're doing that, and you have the supercharge, which is that kinesthetic response, that's the validator. Remember that. Everything is a thought, feeling, and emotion. Anything and everything you experience is a thought, feeling, and an emotion. No matter what you think or say, that is taking place. You can look into the past, you can look into your future, you can be present. It's all happening right here, right now. And that's the consolidation. When you're in the present, everything condenses as one that makes it possible to operate from a 5D reality, altering the 3D reality. Critical. And just so happens, the way 126 does exactly that. Takes a visual, audible experience, creating a kinesthetic response, evoking a supercharge that is your register, your validation that you are in the 5D, creating and oscillating brain waves from theta, alpha, theta, to either epsilon or a gamma, depending upon where you are within your own physical body's energy that is even stagnant or moving through and around and in. So that makes it possible for you to create a magic, create healing, create manifestation. It all takes place. That's how powerful this is. Using ancient Taoist practices, using the fundamentals of quantum physics, epigenetics, Nigong, Qigong, 11 herbs and spices of what is Taoist proprietary systems that have been around for thousands of years. And that's what makes this so powerful, because no two experiences are the same. They are unique in of themselves. And when you experience it, it validates your truth, not my truth, not her truth. Sorry, Mom, Jade's truth. And realize that, guess what? Anything is possible. Once you do it once, twice, 3 times the charm, 3 times a lady. Whatever is necessary for you to validate it as your truth. And that's what comes with the power of this secret source. And we're using your neurology as your tuning fork to realize it as the reality that it is for you, not for me, not for Jade, for you. And that feeling comes from the evoked visual and audible experience, using your neurology, using the vagus nerve as the tuning fork, which basically controls every cell in your body. Oh, yeah. And so, if for any reason you go to someone for a talisman, these are the fundamentals you need to understand when it's constructed. And so you can go over this rewind. When you get that talisman created, you need to ask the person that's doing it whether they are following this instruction, because if they're not, they are screwing the pooch. They're not doing it right. It will have an effect. It may not be the one you're looking for, I promise you that. So when you're delving into altering and changing things at a photon level, a subatomic level, you need to be very particular about the architecture, understand it, because you're operating in this duality. Remember that. And what does that mean? Sifu, you keep saying it. Why do you keep saying, I thought you said you're one with everything? I am. Jade is, but you may not be. You're on your learning curve. You're bending your reality, as good old-fashioned Albert Einstein would say. I'm not bending my reality. I know I'm a singular. I know everything is one. I know I am the field. So when we're operating in your reality, if you're coming from the duality, understand up is down, left is right, good and bad. So with that, make up your mind. Know what you want, when you want, how you want it. Because that's going into the talisman.
Now, is there ever like an ending point? Like, say, I'm going to have surgery on my ankle. And I've had surgery, I recovered, I got a talisman, I feel amazing, I'm fully recovered. Is there anything that like has to like be closed with that? Or does it just continue to like give me strength, give me healing, give me
No. Go.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
like
no,
is there any
I mean
if it's that if it's something where it's just like I want my business to be successful. I mean that's kind of like a never ending thing, or if it's more of a I want a certain event, and then once that event happens, I'm super happy or satisfied.
Right. So there is no end point. Imagine the outcome is the result for whatever the architecture is, whatever your imagination creates, that's the outcome. So imagine all these things are like heat-seeking missiles. They don't stop until they get the target. So, you may be altering space-time. You may be altering the transformation, the alteration of this manifestation by your own intention of manipulating. Know this, once it's cast, it has been done. You cannot unsee something you have already seen. It will take place. It may not take place instantaneously depending upon your mindset, your duality, how you operate, but it will happen. It is instantaneous.
Amazing.
I think it has been amazing what we have experienced today. Oh my goodness. That was a lot. We always seem to feel like it was, but
I think this podcast was a little bit more for like the advanced or people who are really interested in learning more about Taoism and, maybe becoming a Taoist priest themselves, and really kind of getting into that, the fundamentals of it. But I still think for anyone, even just watching, it's so informational, and there's so many kind of little things that you can take away with it and just realize again how connected you feel and how powerful words, numbers, symbols really are to you, and what makes you feel connected to that.
Yeah. No, that was so truth telling, and so profound. Just what you said, and understanding that that's exactly the essence of everybody. Simple. It's just like, once again, the trio. Everything is a thought, feeling, and emotion. Everything is light, information, and energy, and everything is
Energy, frequency, vibration.
right. Or moreover, numbers, symbols,
yes. And
words. Another 3. What are the chances of that? Booyah! So, in summary, we went over a lot the construction of a talisman, the understanding of the basic essence of a talisman, what is necessary, what you have to do, the tools you need, and how to construct that. And of course, the very essence founded in words, symbols, numbers, and more to come. A great overview, a great summary, a great integration into what the truth is.
Yeah, and just more ancient Taoist tools. I think people are really fascinated because they're almost so ancient you don't know about them.
Well, yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, this is direct source material. Any closing words, thoughts, or feelings?
I think we covered so much.
Yes, we did. And with that, I would like to thank my co-host, Divine Delectable High Priestess Jade.
Yes, thank you.
And I will say, in closing, always going back to my old-time golden oldies, that there's never an inappropriate time, ever, in my existence, which I cannot say no to. I don't know how he does that with the music, but he pays homage to our boy, Michael. Now you're going to get to understand the fluidity of the flow, because every piece of music has its high point that accesses the quantum, that accesses manifesting magic and also healing. We'll get to that. And with that, I'm your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Quinn. We'll see you on the next one, guys.